Hey everybody, taking a big sip here. You know what? Are you tired of the do-it-yourself hand sanitizer videos yet? This beer bug apocalypse is sort of driving people crazy, and we haven't gotten halfway there yet. I'm thinking to myself, what can I do differently? Make a little video to kind of help out, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what would be fun? Is to just do a video on comedies. Off the top of my head, 10 or 11 videos, comedies that I've liked over the years, and that would lighten people's moods if they went out and got them. Some of these are available on YouTube for free. You can get them on Amazon Prime for free sometimes. You can even get them in the library a lot of times. So let's go over. These are not the best comedies in the world. They're just some of my favorite ones of all times. And off the top of my head, no particular order, we're going to start off with old W.C. Fields. A lot of young people aren't familiar with him. Back in the 30s and 40s, he was one of the most highest paid actors in making movies. He was a giant. And one of his best comedies, I think, was It's a Gift with little baby Leroy, but with all the characters that he had in his movie, like Mr. Muckle. He had a gift for coming up with interesting names. But there were a lot of interesting, fun little scenes that he had. This is the movie where he introduced the salesman looking for Carl Lafong. That's capital A, small, capital, capital L, small a, capital F, small O, small N, small G, Lafong. Yeah, he was a great comedian. He was an athlete, believe it or not, a juggler, and a great vaudeville comedian. And this was when he was probably at the peak of his comedy skill and powers when he made this movie. I think it's one of his best ones. I recommend it highly. Now, let's get a little older. This is going to be the oldest one we're going to go over. If you think about comedy giants in the silent movies, there was three basically. There was Charlie Chaplin, there was Harold Lloyd, and Buster Keaton. Harold Lloyd at the time was the highest paid because he was the workhorse. He made a ton of movies, more than I think Keaton and Chaplin combined probably. Keaton is probably the most familiar and popular, but I think the most interesting and the most funny, for my money, was Buster Keaton. He was also instrumental in a lot of innovations in the film industry. He was a very creative person, but he also was a very loyal person, and he gave a lot of credit to Fatty Arbuckle, who was a comedian that came before all these other three people I just mentioned. And Buster Keaton said he learned everything he knew from from Fatty Arbuckle. And this particular movie, Fatty Arbuckle was given the title. His name came first in the movie, in the credits, because he was bigger than anybody else at the time. And this movie is so fast-paced. It goes just like a train. It's very modern in that respect. It is fun to watch because it's relentless. The gags and the sights just keep coming and coming and coming. It's one of the old comedies that have stood up to the test of time more than I think any of the others I've watched. It's also kind of surreal. It's the plot is kind of strange and wonderful. They've also got some scenes, like this one, where they actually filmed with the sun behind, so Fatty Arbuckle and this dog come up to be like little shadows. And it's like almost a dream sequence, and something I've never seen in any other movie before or since. It's just a wonderful movie, and like I said, it's fast-paced, it's relentless, it's hilarious. I recommend it highly. I'll leave a link to it. You can watch it for free on YouTube. This is one of the screwball comedies with Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn, James Stewart. I think that Katharine Hepburn stole the movie. She's got a lot of wonderful lines, but she's just one of my favorite actresses from that time period. She was a gorgeous woman. She also was a very witty, wonderful speaker. I remember one time years later from this movie, she was being interviewed by Barbara Walters, who was being kind of rude to her. And finally, Barbara Walters said something about, why did Catherine always wear pantsuits? And Catherine Hepburn said, well, you know what? I have a wonderful dress. I'll be happy to wear it at your funeral. I thought it was something that she would have said in this movie. It was just so wonderful. This is a very good screwball comedy from the time period of the 30s and very early 40s. And it's held its own. It's still fun to watch. Just the witty, the dialogue. It's really, really good. This, on the opposite spectrum, has practically no dialogue. It's by one of my favorite comedy directors was Jacques Tati. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but he does a lot of physical humor, but he also does something where he experiments with sound a lot. He has one sound effect of a door that springs back and forth that almost should be getting a build as a part in the movie. He uses it so much. It's a wonderful, sweet movie. It's a little slow paced, but you don't have to listen or you don't have to understand any dialogue, because a lot of it is just visual humor. And he's got a lot of good actors and actresses in it. It's a sweet, funny movie, just like his other ones, like My Uncle was another good one. But Mr. Hulot's Holiday, if you allow yourself just to get lost in it, just because it's black and white, number one, number two, there's hardly any dialogue, so it's kind of unsettling at first. But if you allow yourself to just get caught up into it, then you actually do take a holiday. It transports you to another time and a place, and the comedy, it's just, you can watch it 2 or 3 times and see something you didn't see before. I recommend it highly. What else do we got? The Man in the White Suit. Alec Guinness. You watch this movie and you realize why he has always been regarded by such an amazing actor. This is it's not an amazing comedy. It's kind of a small movie, but he really makes it into a big part. He carries the whole movie. But having said that, he is surrounded by some extremely wonderful, talented character actors. And he's got some wonderful actresses, too. Joan Greenwood is in here, and she has a voice. I would listen to her read the phone book. She's got such a wonderful voice, so distinct, unlike anybody today or even back then. This is also a very interesting movie because it's kind of appropriate for today. This movie is about a man, Alec Guinness, a chemist, who makes a cloth that does not get dirty or deteriorate or tear apart. It never gets old. And once he makes this, the other people realize he's going to put hundreds of thousands of people out of work and destroy an industry worth billions of dollars. So in a way, it's very relatable today, like what's going to happen with robotics and artificial intelligence and so much immigration, jobs being taken by other places, like all the things that are going on with globalism in our world that's affecting the marketplace. What's going to happen with everybody and their job? Well, this sort of reflects on that same question, but it's a comedy, and it's very well done. There is a machine that the character makes in this movie that has a wonderful sound effect that they actually made into a song that won an award. It's actually the sound effect for this machine that he developed to make the chemical or the cloth. It's a fun part of the movie, actually. But this is a great movie. Not a lot of people know about it, but I recommend it highly, if only to listen to Joan Greenwood. Okay, this didn't get very high ratings here, but it's a pretty good movie. It's got Alan Arkin and Jonathan Winters. Jonathan Winters is my idol. I love Jonathan Winters. I should say I idolize Jonathan Winters. He's just fantastic. Always been. But Alan Arkin steals this movie. He's got a great part, and he just takes it and runs with it. It's a wonderful, sweet movie. It's not a big comedy. It's not like my top 10, but if it was on right now, I'd watch it. It's got so many good scenes and a lot of good actors, and it's fun to watch. It's a great family movie, wonderful family movie, and it's funny, and because it's got so many great people in it too. This movie, only 85%, 81%. I think this is my top 5% of comedies of all time. This is one of the best comedies Steve Martin ever made, and it's one of the best comedies ever made. And it's very absurd humor. Maybe people don't like it. People aren't really picky about humor. Everybody has an opinion on comedy. They know what they like, they know what they don't like, and they don't mind telling people. Where there's a lot of things people really don't have that much knowledge about, but they don't have much of an opinion. But you could have no knowledge of comedy and still have an opinion about comedy. People just are really strongly opinionated on comedy. They're all experts, and I think they're wrong. I think this is an amazing comedy. There's so many good scenes in it. They hate these cans. It's also got some sweet moments in it with Bernadette Peters, the one they sing the duet, and there's so many wonderful scenes. There's a scene where he finds his special purpose. If you can't laugh at that scene, where he finds what his special purpose is, it's a great scene. So I think if you're feeling down, The Jerk, one of my favorite comedies. Okay, here's another one. 61%. I can't believe this. When There's Something About Mary. When it came out, I saw it in the movie theater. I laughed so hard. Everybody around me was laughing. I went and got my girlfriend. We went to see it. Same thing. Everybody's laughing. Later on that week, I went and got my brother. Took him to see it. Same thing. Everybody just roaring laughter. And it's one of my favorite comedies. I do think Matt Dillon stole the movie, though. I think he was the best part. Stiller, he was good, and Cameron Diaz was very good, and she's gorgeous in this movie. I think she never looked better and never will look better. This was a great movie for her. But Matt stole the movie. I work with retards. Matt was wonderful in this movie. And if you're feeling down, Something About Mary, nothing wrong with that movie. Okay, this has got to be like my number one and number two favorite comedy of all time. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Every scene was great. Every scene was wonderful and funny and hilarious. There were no bad scenes. Even this scene that I think most people forgot about, I think is hilarious. When Sir Galahad goes to Castle Anthrax and meets all the maidens, and he's torn away from giving them all a spanking by Sir, who was it? I forgot, Sir Lancelot. Then there was the insulting Frenchman. And you had the Black Knight. Have at you. Yeah, it's a great movie. The Holy Hand Grenade. How fast is a European swallow, and it's a great movie. It's a great movie. Great comedy. I've watched it, I think, 10 times. Forrest Gump. In a way, it's a drama, but in a way, it's a comedy. If you took out all the comedy parts, I don't think people would like it half as much. I mean, it's got a lot of sad scenes, a lot of tear-jerking scenes, but it's got a lot of fantastic comedy, wonderful comedy. To this day, I can't watch this scene without laughing. I've seen it so many times. The boat slams into the dock. That's my boat. I work with a guy from Russia, and we used to, Boris, God rest his soul, he's passed away now, and he hated this movie. He said, why do Americans get so in love with this movie? It's about this. He didn't say retarded person, but he said person with a mental problems. He said, "Why does America like this person?" But it was a funny movie. I guess also I've talked to some people who write movies, and they didn't like Forrest Gump because it didn't follow any pattern or any way movies are normally written. It doesn't ring the bells and check the boxes of what comedies usually do. Or movies usually do. It's a very unusual movie, and it threw them off. Like they didn't understand why this movie was so popular, because it didn't do what movies normally do. They have a way of writing them. They have a way of making them, and this movie didn't follow that pattern. And maybe that's why people liked it so much. I think this is the last one. Oh, brother, where art thou? This didn't get very high ratings either, but I think this is definitely the funniest thing Clooney's ever been in, for sure. And there are scenes in there that are just classic. We thought she was a toad. Has there ever been anything funnier said in a movie? We thought she was a toad. This was hilarious. I was so lucky the first time I saw this movie. It was hardly anybody in the movie theater, but way in the back there was this big fat man, and I think he had this big country laugh. By country laugh, I mean he wasn't embarrassed to laugh. He liked laughing. He enjoyed laughing. You have some people are sophisticated. They come up and tell you, "Oh, you were so funny, we could hardly keep from laughing." Like, where other people, they enjoy laughing. It makes life wonderful. And this guy, you could tell he liked laughing. And every single funny part in the movie, he just laughed and laughed and laughed. And after a while, the few people in the audience, we started laughing just because the other guy was laughing. It was a wonderful experience. But I've seen it a couple other times, and it's still just as funny. I thought Clooney and the other characters did a great job in this movie. So if you're kind of having a little trouble with the beer bug, get out and see, not get out, but go on Amazon Prime, or go to YouTube. There's a lot of these movies that are on YouTube you can see for free. So you can also order them online and pay for them too. But most of these you can still get for free. Guys, I hope that's something that helped you and gave you an idea of something to do while you're home sequestered and quarantined and social distancing. So all you social distancers out there, you can lighten up and go see some movies. Do what you can, and if there's something going on you can't do anything about it, just, the Grim Reaper comes for us all, but we don't have to kiss his butt. You know what I'm saying? We can prepare and do whatever we can, and after we've done everything we can, we need to just put a grin on our face and just have some fun, All right, guys, hope you like this. I'll be putting on some more videos about comedies. I think I might be doing that. I'm going to do a video next on the people who have channels on YouTube that I think are hilarious. Some of them that hardly have any viewers. You might be interested. Also, last thing, if you have any videos or movies you like that are funny, put them in your comments. Or people have channels you think they're funny, put them in your comments, and I'll do reviews on them too. All right, guys. I ain't going to be seeing you out there. I'm distancing, but I'm going to be having some fun too. All right, guys. Take care and lighten up. See you out there.